Yeah, it's great to be here actually, to talk about water and look around us. How lucky are we to be in such a beautiful venue today, and welcome to all those overseas visitors. You're also very lucky to be experiencing Sydney Harbour. And when I arrived at this event today, I must congratulate the organisers to see that the event's being held in a venue which is called Water itself. Right on the door as you come in, it says water. So, I think that's really, really key to our journey today to explore, in this session, to explore the importance of climate change and water and what we can do in this industry. Because obviously, without water, there isn't a horticultural industry, is there? Because you can't grow anything. Water is life. And so it's such an essential ingredient for all of us in this room. That one, hopefully? Yeah, it does work. So for those of you who don't know, the Water Conservancy, our vision really is for an Australia where everyone values water and is aware of the water that they're using, and in turn they use it wisely and efficiently. And I think that if we're not conscious of the water that we're using, whether that's at home or in our gardens or even at work, if we're not conscious of our water, then how can we even contemplate the idea of using it efficiently or sensibly? So we have 5 key objectives at the Water Conservancy. We're understanding water attitudes. We do research every year to help us understand how we use water at work, within industry, and at home. We improve people's water literacy, which is what we call people's knowledge of water and how they value water. So we measure water literacy and we try to improve water literacy. We facilitate water efficiency. We raise water awareness, and we help people understand their water consumption. So we're working with businesses all around the country, as well as householders, to help them understand how much water they're using all the time. And we have 5 key programs. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about these a bit later on in my talk, and how some of them apply to the horticultural and nursery industry. But I really wanted to kick off with a bit of an overview of climate change, and obviously you know this all too well. We've heard it all the time that climate change is bringing more floods, more droughts, more severe critical weather conditions. What it's really doing in the water industry, we have this expression, the 4 horsemen. I don't know if anyone's heard of the 4 horsemen in New South Wales, and we apply it to 4 quite serious conditions that we experienced in the run-up to COVID. The first was a very severe drought in New South Wales, which ran from about 2017 for 2 years. Water levels reduced dramatically. Several regional towns were experiencing day zero and having to have water shipped in. And it was a serious drought conditions in several interior towns in New South Wales. Following this, we of course had the terrible bushfires in 2018, which spread dramatically throughout the southern part of the state and up through the middle, followed by floods, which was, I guess, welcome to put out the bushfires, but then we went from extreme drought to intense flooding situation. And then the fourth horseman was obviously COVID. So that 5-year period where we experienced drought, bushfires, floods, and COVID was very challenging. And I suppose it's just a reflection and an example of climate change and how that sort of impacts the industry. Another example is, I'd like to take you over to Western Australia, and I got this slide from Water Corporation, who's the big water corp over in Western Australia that supply all the water and wastewater for Western Australia. And they have seen, they're probably the city that's been the most impacted by climate change in Australia. And that's really demonstrated by this graph of stream flow. So 100 years ago, pretty much all of the water supply for Perth and the surrounding area was provided by rainfall, by stream flow. And you can see that line there, how over the last 100 years, it's really, stream flow has really fallen and diminished big time in value. So you've got the best fit lines here, and you can just see how they've dropped and dropped lower and lower. And to date, I think Water Corp relies on rainfall. It's only about a 20% source for its water supply. And what this has meant is that Water Corp's had to adapt. And they've adapted by things like building desalination plants, by using groundwater. But groundwater doesn't last forever. You have to replenish groundwater. So they've been putting recycled water into high-quality treated recycled water into their groundwater supply to top up those groundwater supplies for better water security and to ensure good water for the future. So it's just a really interesting example of how climate change is affecting us now and how we're already adapting in this country when it comes to water supply. And what does that mean for your industry? Well, it means you're going to have to look to source your water from different areas potentially. Are you using groundwater? Are you using raw water? Are you using potable water? We're putting an impact on the water supply that's out there. We've got growing population, we've got more industries coming in, we've got data centers coming in that are using huge amounts of water for cooling. No one knows where data centers are going to be getting their water from in the future. They are really water hungry, and they're potentially a big competitor to any other industry that wants to use water too. So I think we're going to have to collaborate, and we're going to have to use water carefully together and to ensure that we have water for all. But what it also means really is it's about water efficiency, and it's about using water wisely so there's water to go around for everybody and not wasting it really. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why water efficient management is mission critical for production nurseries. And really it's about how really these 5 points I wanted to talk through are about how water efficiency should be something that we do all the time. So a lot of people think, we're in a drought, we need to save water, let's be water efficient. It's like, and now it's raining, so we don't need to worry about it anymore. It's not that at all. In my opinion, and hopefully everyone in the room agrees, water efficiency is something we should be doing all the time. It's just good practice. And I wanted to explain a bit why. So the first thing is about water stewardship. So production nurseries, obviously you're at the start of the value chain, and the way you manage water very much shapes the outcomes beyond the nursery gate. So it influences landscapes, urban cooling, biodiversity, livability, and it's really about smarter systems. So it's about water efficient irrigation design, rain, soil moisture sensors, and products that help the soil retain water for longer. Easy tools that means we can keep water in the rivers and groundwater while keeping our plants healthy. So it's about that stewardship side of things. And the second point is about how every litre that we save protects our environment. And really, I think that comes down to water literacy again. It's back to this knowledge of water point. How does water get to our business, and where does it go when it leaves? Using water efficiently, it means less pressure on rivers and on groundwater, less energy that's used for pumping, and fewer nutrients that are lost through runoff. And if you think about nurseries, water use might be often quite invisible. Watering when plants don't need it, or applying more water than soils can hold. And also leaks can be hidden too, right? You get concealed leaks. It means you're wasting water without realizing it, and you're spending more in your bills than you need to. So using certified technologies mean that you can ensure that you're using water wisely in your business. So I think it's important to improve our water literacy and improve the knowledge of how water is used in your business, and invest in technologies that allow you to use water wisely. The third point is about healthy water, healthy plants. And I don't think I need to tell you this. I think you probably all know this better than me, but plants respond very much to how much water you use, and they need an exact amount of water. And this is your speciality, not mine. But if you overwater plants, obviously you're weakening the roots and leaching nutrients. If you underwater, you're going to stress the plants out and reduce the quality. So healthy plants need exactly the right amount of water. There are products that enable you to do that. The fourth point is about social license. I think water is deeply personal, and communities really care about how and where water is used. We do a lot of research at the Water Conservancy that shows that people really want to do the right thing at home and in their gardens when it comes to their water use. Some of them don't know how, and they want help, and that's where we're there to help them, but they really want to do the right thing. And I think people expect industry to do the right thing as well, and government, and everybody really. We should all work together to do the right thing. So when you're adopting a water efficient practice, like smart irrigation or recycled water systems. You should be proud of that. Talk about those technologies and on social media and in your newsletters to your customers and let them know what you're doing and be proud of that work. It's fantastic. And the fifth point is about smarter water securing the future. I think the future of horticulture will belong to those who treat water as a strategic asset. With climate change, it's going to become harder and harder to get sources of water, to actually find the water that we need to keep growing. But it's not about a reduction in production. It's just about being smarter and doing more with less. So they're my 5 kind of just thoughts for the morning, bit of research I did last week. What can we do? How can the Water Conservancy help? Most of you probably haven't heard of us, but we're based out of the Water Services Association of Australia, so we work with all of the WASA members, all of the water utilities around the country. We run various programs for consumers and for businesses to help with water use and awareness, and some of the ways we can help. So the first thing is the Smart Drop Certified program, and you may have heard of this in another form. It used to be known as Smart Approved Watermark, and it's been around for 21 years, and it's a way of determining products that are certified efficient. So there are lots of products out there that claim to save water, but they don't all, unfortunately. There's a lot of greenwash in this world, especially in the environmental eco-land. And so, we need a way of establishing which ones are actually efficient. So this is a trust mark for water efficiency, if you like. And it means that as nurseries, you have the confidence that when you're investing in products, if you're choosing Smart Drop products, that those water savings that the manufacturers have are actually being proven to be real and defensible. We've been doing this for over 21 years, and it was actually born out of the National Water Initiative in 2004. And so we've been running this program for 21 years, and we have over 100 products listed on our website across all different water efficient products that are deemed to be efficient. And to prove themselves, they have to provide trials, case studies, testimonials to really demonstrate those really clear water savings. How do they get certified? Well, there are 4 main criteria. The product has to save water, of course, and it has to do what it says it does on the box. It has to meet any necessary Australian standards, and it must be environmentally sustainable. We need that clear evidence, and we have an expert panel that assess the applications when they come in to make sure that the data they're providing is independently verified as being water efficient. So that's our panel. They are real people. It's not just me sitting in a room saying, yeah, this one passes. They've been doing a great job. Some of those people have been on that panel for the whole 21 years, which just blows my mind. It's quite incredible. So they know what they're doing. They're very experienced people. And, there's you might recognise Tammy there from ABC, Gardening Australia. Maybe a couple of others from your sector, as well as some water industry representation and irrigation representation. As an overview, most of the products are in the outdoor space, so garden, watering, irrigation, commercial, industrial irrigation, analytical products, plumbing, as well as pool and spa, pool covers, waterless car washing equipment. But for your sector, there's probably about 30% of your members would fit into the Smart Drop Certified program, either as a service or as an irrigation watering provider or soil moisture sensor, rain sensor, some kind of soil amendment product. All of those products that you'd be using in your nurseries, we'd hope that they would be Smart Drop certified. 2 examples. The Green Life Industry Australia, the Eco Hort guidelines for managing the environment, and the NIASA Nursery Industry Accreditation Scheme. Both of those are approved under the Smart Drop Certified program and listed as approved services on our website and have been for about 20 years. And as I understand it, both of those have a water efficiency component to qualify to be a NIASA accredited or EcoHort. The other thing to mention too, which I should have mentioned it right up the top, was that the Green Life Industry Australia was actually a founding partner of Smart Approved Watermark, now Smart Drop Certified, back in 2004. So we have a bit of a long-standing history that dates back to 2004 with the Green Life Industry Association. The second way that the Water Conservancy can help is by lifting water literacy. And I've mentioned this term, water literacy, a few times already this morning, but it is really key to the first part of the journey in engaging people around water use. How does water get to your business? Where does it go afterwards? And how much water is used per plant? How many people in the room can really actually genuinely put their hand on their heart and say, I know exactly how much water comes into my nursery, and exactly how much leaves, and exactly how much is wasted, and exactly how much every plant uses? Hopefully many of you can. That would be interesting to know. So through our Smart Water Advice and our Smart Water Solutions program, we can help businesses understand that. So we have a program where we'll come out and we'll do a water efficiency opportunity assessment program. We'll come in and we'll look at how you're using water, and we'll recommend ways that you might be able to improve your efficiency on site through better use of products. And it's all about that knowledge. Once you know how you're using it, you can then implement ways to use it more wisely. And we do this for a range of large water using businesses all over Australia. The other way is, number 3, we make water visible by helping people understand and measure and understand and value their water use. Often that challenge is that water is a real invisible input. I think with energy it's a bit easier. You can see if a house has left its light on. You can see if an office building is lit up at night when there's no workers inside. Energy is very visible. Water's quite quiet. It runs underground. It goes into a business where the door's shut. It goes into a house where the door's closed. You can't see water being used. Yeah, sure, if there's a burst pipe on the street, then everyone's complaining. You can suddenly see water and everyone's on the phone complaining to the water utility, come and fix it. And it might run for 2 weeks and they're getting really angry because they're not fixing it. Then it's visible, then we're really engaged. When it's visible, we're suddenly really engaged with our water use, right? But most of the time, when water's working for us, it's not really visible. And so we tend to waste it if we're not aware of it. So the Get Water Fit platform has been built to help us understand how and where we're using water and highlight smart recommendations and ways for us to use our water better. It builds awareness of water use patterns and highlights opportunities for improvement by activity or system. And it links behaviour and infrastructure by connecting insights with certified water-saving solutions. And it's widely used across residential and water utility programs, but the same principles for this program also apply to horticulture, I believe. It's about visibility driving better water stewardship. The fourth one is about building a culture that values water and not just compliance. So we have 2 programs that help with this kind of concept of a culture that values water, and it brings back to the point before about social license. Water Night and Water Smart and Friends. Water Night is a national water awareness initiative that encourages Australians to use water wisely. We ask people to go for 5 hours without using water on the 23rd of October every year. 5 hours from 5 till 10 p.m. Don't use your taps, don't use your showers, don't use any running water in your home or your garden. Try not to use any running water or any water in your nursery. Is that possible? Just for 5 hours. Probably is. Water Smart and Friends is a primary school incursion program designed to help young kids understand their water cycle and where water comes from and how to save it. And we work with water utilities around the country to deliver that program for schools. This is Water Night. This year's the 6th year. We work with a fabulous ambassador, Costa Georgiadis, I'm sure you all know. And he's very kindly dedicated his time to the campaign, which last year was From Habit to Hero. This year, it's running in October. We get to work out what it looks like. But I'd love to involve the horticultural industry somehow in Water Night this year. We haven't done that yet, and it would be fabulous to talk to you more about how we might be able to, I suppose, make it useful for you. What can we do with Water Night that adds value to your sector? We know it improves water literacy. The participants that get involved, we survey them before and after. It improves our water literacy by 10 to 15, sometimes 20%. That means what they know after Water Night is 10% more than what they know before they do Water Night when it comes to their water use. And this is a quick photo of our Water Smart and Friends program, sending actors into schools, teaching about the water cycle and water efficiency. The final point really is, I suppose, just to talk about how we're all sort of joined up. Water is the underlying ingredient for the Water Conservancy, for the nursery industry, the horticultural industry, the water industry, for the Federal Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water that we work closely with through the Water Night campaign, through WASA and the Australian Water Association and Irrigation Australia and the GIA. We're all kind of connected through this magical ingredient of water that kind of just has to be there, otherwise none of us exist. And so I think I just wanted to just make this final point that it's really about us just being more connected, and I would love to be more involved with your sector. We'd love to help the industry improve water awareness and turn that into action by improving water literacy, certifying what's truly efficient, guiding better decisions, and building a culture that really values water. So they're my final points. Let's do more together. Just some key takeaways. Think about Smart Drop Certified. Do you have products or services in your line of business that might be appropriate? If you wanted to apply to get the Smart Drop certification, give me a ring. I'll chat to you about it. And if you don't have the products, then maybe you definitely need to use them. I'm sure you're all using products that use water in your business, so just make sure they're all Smart Drop certified, because if they're not, you can't guarantee that they're actually water efficient, even if they say they are. Talk about the great work you're doing, the brilliant water efficiency work that you're doing. Tell your customers, talk it up. It's a great story for that social license. Consider Water Night and whether there's relevance to your business. I'd love to talk to you more. As I said, we haven't brought Water Night to this sector yet, and I think there's definitely scope and opportunity, and I'd love to hear your ideas.